All right, so we're back. I managed to do like a show last week. Slowly kind of getting back from being knocked out from COVID. Don't get it. I know we've been plagued out for like 18 trillion years. It's really annoying, but it sucked. Excuse me. Anyway, so I had to reschedule James a couple times. He's been extremely patient. Thank you so much, James, for coming to hang out. If you could maybe give people a little description, introduction to who you are and what you're up to.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is James Turner. I am the CEO of Excellerate Solutions. We are a community management company. My background is in QSR, where I was an operations director for a number of years, general manager, then operations, um, and I've been in Web3 since like 2017, and yeah, NFTs since March of 2021. We started managing Creatures, which was the very first NFT project on Solana.
Oh wow.
And then from there, we just kind of kept moving forward. Back then there was a lot of people that um, claimed to be community managers, and me with an operations background, I looked around and I said, this could be done better. Uh, so so that's what I tried to do, and that was the whole reason we started Accelerate, and we built it out to where at the peak of the market, when the market was really just going crazy, we were managing 22 clients simultaneously, over 80 people on staff. And things have quieted down since then, obviously. Um, you know,
I
um,
resemble this comment.
but but it's been a blast.
Mhm.
Absolutely loving it. Currently, we're really focusing on um, training the next round of community managers in Web3, building out our software, our web app, to help community managers, manage their communities more efficiently, from an operational angle.
That's interesting. So, what got you into crypto Web3 in the first place? You said 2017. It's right around when I hopped on board. So, what was it?
It's
What was the
interesting.
spark?
It's always been the same. My thesis has always been the same. It's decentralized brain power coming together to do cool shit, right? That's always been my thesis. I've always just seen the underlying technology of what blockchain is, not just disrupting banking. Obvious, that's the obvious.
Mhm.
But disrupting the social connections, right? Disrupting the social media, disrupting how people come together. So my first jump into Web3 was with Steemit.com, which was the
Mhm.
first ever social media blockchain back in 2017, right?
Right.
And so that's always been my thing. Is I've just always thought this is it. This is where it is. So that's why when NFTs came out, right? Like back then there was no talk of utility. Utility didn't even exist. Like nobody was talking about utility. It was just
Mhm.
cool people coming together to do cool things, have fun together, right? And hopefully build the future. And that's always been why I've been involved. That specific reason.
Yeah, it was interesting. I kind of felt the same path, right? You sort of like, get on the Bitcoin train, and just that realization that if the banks could shut it down, they would have already, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, governments as well. I mean, like governments are the ones who issue money, not some algorithm. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that sort of it cracks the mind open. Well, wait a minute, what other sort of you know edifices or like legacy infrastructure are we trapped by and just assuming there's no way around it, right?
Right.
I think social media is a really amazing one, and really like taking out. I love what you did, where you're talking about social media, but you basically said it's a lot more about how people are coming together, because it kind of breaks us out
Exactly.
of the mold of thinking what is social media or whatever. Really, it's just about connecting people and sort of creating those meaningful interactions, right? And an uplift, that's
Yep.
always been the thing, right? The most prescient thing anyone ever said about what we're doing is that it's like a four-dimensional web browser, and you have neighbors, right? So
Yeah.
that's like
I love that.
it sort of breaks that down to that thing. And really, like, community has always been what we've been focused on. So one of the questions I like a few key questions that I like to ask, everybody that comes on to this, 100 Amazing People series that we've been doing. And the first one, what's your primary focus day to day? You kind of covered that. You're working on Accelerate. So why are you working on Accelerate instead of anything else? Like, what is it about that community focus that keeps you coming back, even during this slow time?
Well, so like even in operations, my entire life, I've always enjoyed helping other people. Like, I know a lot of people say something like that, and of course, I think many people enjoy that, right? There's a certain gratification you get when you help somebody else, and building communities, um, is I'm able to do that at a certain scale while still getting that personal gratification, right? Because like I enjoy seeing people do things and me having a role in it, right?
Mhm.
And seeing them grow, seeing something happen. Like I enjoy that. It's enjoyable. I enjoy doing it. In operations, that was one of the main things that kept me around. Like nobody enjoys QSR. Like quick service restaurants are not fun. Like
Thank
nobody's
you.
like,
I was gonna
woohoo.
ask. Yeah, I was gonna ask what QSR was. So thank you for bringing us back around to that because I
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
yeah,
Like,
quick
but the
service
only thing
restaurants.
that quick service restaurants, McDonald's, Del Taco, right?
Got it.
And none that's not fun. Like nobody's like, yeah, I love working at McDonald's, right? I love, yeah, let's do it. Like nobody's like that, right? But
Right.
the one thing I did truly enjoy about that was the ability to find people that had nascent talent, right? That had intrinsic value, that had a unique way of looking at the world, looking at how to interact with people, looking at how to manage people, and
Mhm.
giving them an opportunity to where nobody else gave them an opportunity. Because a lot of people look at these people as, lower than, low. Like, they're just at McDonald's working as a cashier because they can't do anything else. No,
Right.
most of them, nobody's even given them the opportunity. Most of them, people have told them they suck their entire lives. So to have somebody, come and say, dude, you're awesome at this. Like, this is great. You're great. Right. And then you see them grow and you see them never have to go back to minimum wage again. Right. Like you just see them move up and you had some type of role in changing their lives. Like that's always been my thing. I've just been driven by that. And community just allows me to do that even more so.
So I meet a lot of people through Chan, and now I know why she loves you. And there's always the question, right? Because it's not joking, but I always joke with Chan that like anybody she sends to me is an automatic yes, and we figure out why after, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Um, but it really, she's just got such a sense for people, and I absolutely love that, right? Because most of when you're just a cog in a machine at McDonald's, nobody's really incentivized necessarily to look for the outliers that are gonna change the system because the system, I'm sure, is not easy to change, right? McDonald's
No.
is the system. Like that's the whole idea. And yet,
Yeah.
the only way that it's going to improve is if innovator type minds take a look at things and see that they can be done differently, right? Like it's the only way
Yep.
anything evolves. And this is where coming back to the community thing in Web3, like one of the things that I cherish the most about this space, and we try to nurture as much as possible. It's why, after buying the uplift back from my partners, we turn it into a DAO where, giving most of it away, to, have the community run it and own it in a very real sense, is because we can, as a default, those people that are finding those innovator minds come to the surface, right? And their ideas get heard, and we can iterate it on at scale. And really, like the decentralized nature of Web3 means that people are iterating like crazy. There's a lot of spaghetti thrown against a lot of walls, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And a
Yeah. Yeah.
lot of it doesn't work. But what does work is going to stick, and we're going to build on
Yep.
that and iterate. And it just like the ability for us to evolve in this space is going to be dramatically higher than anywhere else. I mean, that's really always been the case in tech, right? I mean, there's the rule sets are wide open, and the tool sets are so huge that you
Yeah.
can start to really do all sorts of crazy things and find out where the magic is.
I think what's so amazing about Web3 too is that it's not just like tech in the past. has been just tech, right? Like it's been the tech guys that understand technical jobs that, right? Like and it's been tech, and you've had to like really be a technical person
Hmm.
to break in. But
Yep.
the amazing thing about Web3 is that all of that creativity, all of that ingenuity is not just now a technical thing. It's not just hard skill thing. It's like the people with soft skills have an opportunity, right?
Hmm.
It's the people with it's people all over the spectrum can come in here and carve out their own way of doing something new, because this technology is so varied and so vast and touches so many different things and can be utilized in so many different ways
Right.
that it's magical, man. Like I don't think we've had we I know we haven't. Like I can't think of anything that any other technological revolution even close to what we're going to be going through over the next like 15, 20 years. Like I just don't see any I
I mean,
can't think of anything.
the birth of the internet itself would
Yeah,
really, I
okay.
think, be the
Yeah.
only. But
Yeah.
even still, right? You had to be, fairly technical. I think
To
the
be at the
early,
ground level, right? To be at the
right,
ground level, you had to be very technical. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. The early adoption phase is tougher, but it's like the blog thing. Like anyone can do a blog, and sort of that got interesting, and anyone can you do YouTube videos. That gets it right. So there's that ground floor potential of it, but it feels different. It's like, I mean, it's an order of magnitude bigger, and of course, it's built
Yeah.
on the internet, right? So like all these things sort of stand on the hill that got built during the last sort of push or whatever. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to reorganize, and I think dramatically enhance and evolve how human beings come together, right? And
I
that
love it.
community is
Love it.
the sauce there, right? Like that's so it's exciting that you're bringing the operational sort of point of view to it, because there's definitely there's a million ways to do community wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And even I personally have done it right many times, and I've also done it wrong a couple times, right? Like it's the things get dicier and dicier and dicier. I got super emotional on the internet a couple times. Turns out not
Yeah.
great for community. Or learn or whatever. But I've seen tons of projects that now during the bull run anyway, right? Like any flash in a pan, it's going to get a bunch of eyeballs and it gets more eyeballs or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes that works out, and sometimes it just kind of doesn't, right? But
Yeah.
having people that really understand how to cultivate community, and maybe even why, right? Because it's one thing to like go from a financial perspective, like, oh, I want to drop another PFP project like to every day, and you could build a community around that or whatever. And that's fun. There's some hype there or whatever. But why are you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Having some sort of cultural touch point that you can build a community around has kind of always been important to us.
Well, that is community. Community is culture, right? Community is about people coming together with shared values, right?
Mm.
And the thing is like over the last couple years, we've just been extremely spoiled when it comes to quote unquote building communities, right? So that's why like people, over the bull run, we were able to build a community in six
Right.
weeks, right? And so now everyone thinks, oh well, we could do it in 6 weeks. Well, that was like it was unrealistic then. It's
Yeah.
it's even more unrealistic now. Like that's not a community. Most of those didn't evolve into communities. Like 99% of them died after they made money, right? Like that was it. Like so, uh, you know, uh, yeah. But that's what I love about right now, though, is that the communities that we're still a part of, that we're still managing, like the people that are still sticking around, like this is long term, and
Yeah.
they want to do it right, and they want to build out 6, 9, 12 month, like really build out the thing, right? And I love being able to do that. It's so fun. It's so fun because there's real relationships being built. You're getting to meet people. You're being able to actually build out that culture and see it evolve in real time. And like that's just so amazing, and it's so gratifying. And the other thing about I want to touch on, you talked about operations. Yeah, look, I think one thing about Web3. is there's a sore spot here for operational know-how. Like there, there a lot of people do like a lot of people in the space, and don't get me wrong, these kids are cool and they're talented and they're intelligent, but they're like 20 somethings, right? With no real background in like business or managing or operating anything. But they have great ideas, right?
Yeah.
Great ideas. But they need some operational guidance, because operations is everything, man. Like processes, systems, routines, getting people into cadence, how you execute, right? Like that's all operations. Um and being able to track your OKRs, KPIs, like that, those are all pieces that a lot of people miss. And that's why I take it to community management, because it's essential. Like operations, community management, especially Web3 community management, is mostly operational. Like in the back end, you're managing a team,
Yeah.
right? And then you're managing a massive team, which is the community, right? And if you think about like QSR, right? This is why I think it was so perfect for like me to jump in, was because in QSR you're dealing with people that are getting underpaid, right? Like they're getting underpaid and they're working their ass off, right? They're working their ass off for like nothing. And you have to incentivize them, you have to engage them, you have to find ways to motivate them, right? And all of that's the same thing with community, right? Like you're asking people to do for you. You have to find ways to provide value to them that aren't just here's the NFT, right? So like, and it's the same exact thing when you're managing a team at some place like QSR, because you have to do more than just the basics, and that's one thing I love about community. If that made sense, I hope that made sense.
It makes tons of sense. P.S. This is the base of the Uplifters Tower.
Oh, dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Uplift before?
Nah, man.
Well, this is it.
Is this
where we,
Minecraft?
yeah.
Hey, how did you guys navigate, with the whole like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
non-crypto
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
do.
So interestingly enough, what they actually said you can't do is you can't integrate any Web3 stuff into their app, and we never
Okay.
have.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, all of
Cool,
our
cool.
stuff sits outside. Like the way that this land is attached to an NFT is outside the game. So we're basically just
Okay.
using the NFT on the blockchain tells our server which piece of land you own, and that's it.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're
So
not
yeah,
incorporating
so
anything
it's
else.
yeah, so there's no like, armor or, weapons that are
Right.
NFTs or anything like that.
Now, I
Okay.
mean,
Very cool.
what we decided to do as a DAO, we voted to stop future development. Like we still have we've got 8 worlds on Minecraft right now. We're gonna do like the odd thing, that doesn't require any R&D. That we're still supporting all these things. All these servers are still up. Obviously, that's where we are right now, right? So that's gonna stay there. But we decided to pause future development on that, and we found an open source platform called Mindtest that basically looks pretty much like this, only we can do whatever we want. And so I'm honestly like genuinely grateful for Mojang for shitting the bed as hard as they did.
Yeah. Yeah. It opened the door.
100%. Like it forced us to innovate. And yeah, so we're going to be launching a new world on Mindtest before too long. It's going to be heavily integrated with Web3.
You know, you know what's crazy too is that sorry to cut you off, man, but like
No.
is that Minecraft is very easy to replicate. Like it is not a difficult thing to do exactly what it's doing. Like
Right.
it's super, super easy, So like when they did that, I was like, well, they just lost a lot of money. It's obscene that they even made that decision. But hey,
Yeah.
whatever.
No, it's because they don't get it. And I mean,
Yeah.
the sort of famous story about the guy that worked at Kodak that showed them the first digital picture situation, whatever. It's like 8 bits or 16 bits, whatever it was. It was really stupid and really, really small. And they fired him, right? And where's Kodak now? Well, they're making memory sticks for digital cameras because they were 20 years behind the curve or whatever it was, right? Like it's just sort of
Yep.
that's going to happen a lot. Anyway, so one thing that I ask everybody that comes on the show, James, is what are you most grateful for? And we actually put that up on this monument, and you'll see there's like wooden monuments all over the place. These are all full.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
dope, man.
that's kind of fun.
Man, you're making me You're making me want to break out the old Minecraft, man. Like I
Get it
haven't
done,
jumped on
son.
Minecraft, dude. Man, I used to have so many fun times.
But man, I'll gift you a piece of land for me if you want. We'll get
For
you hooked
real?
up. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, dude. Okay, you're definitely gonna make me break out Minecraft. I'm gonna have to remember my password. So what am I most grateful for? What am I most grateful for? Man, there's so many things. Um,
You can have more than one.
okay, so I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to um, bring. So a little known fact about Accelerate is when we first started, everyone that was on our team was my family. So I brought my mom in, I brought my sister in, I brought my brother in, I brought my nephew in, I brought my niece in, right, and we were all a team, and for a solid year of managing this company and growing, it's slowed down now. They've, like, my sister has her own a consulting agency now. Kudos to her. She went off and started her own thing, right? Like, and my mom's doing her own thing. Everybody's like, so it's dope. I absolutely
Yeah,
love it. But like for a solid year, we talked every day. We managed this together, and it was the closest we've been as a family, for I don't, forever,
that's
right?
cool.
Like for a long time, because we were able to do this for a living and be together and talk together, and it was just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And now we talk a lot more than we did, because it just became habit again, right? To actually talk to each other. Go figure. Um, you know, but other than that, I'm very grateful for my team. Like, Mark, who's out there, he's uh, our training director for Excellerate, among many other things. He's been absolutely amazing. The rest of the team that's still sticking with us, and managing these projects together with me. I can't thank them enough. I'm so grateful. They're all amazing, and yeah, I love those guys. I'm so grateful to have an amazing team like that. So
That's awesome.
that would be my couple things that I'm extremely grateful for. Oh, and one more shout out to Lena. Lena, she's the CEO and founder of Zeitgeist, which is a marketing agency, a Web3 marketing agency. She's amazing at her job. I'm giving her some plugs here because I absolutely love that girl.
That's
I'm
awesome.
super
How do I
super.
spell her name?
Lena, man, I don't want to destroy her last name. Um,
We can do first name. That's all right.
Okay, Lena Grundhofer. I want to say
Yeah, I'm not
Grundhofer.
trying that. That's crazy. Also, these signs are very small.
Yeah, dude. If you look it up, it'll come up. Zeitgeist is Zeitgeist, right? Zeitgeist, with a 3, I think, in there somewhere. But you look up Zeitgeist, you'll find her on LinkedIn. She's amazing. Super grateful for her. We've been Web3 companions, Web3 partners, for over a year now on multiple projects, and she's absolutely amazing. I'm grateful to have a friend like her, in the space. So there we go. A few things I'm grateful for. All relationships. Go figure.
Right? Yeah. You know what? I'm grateful for community-minded people today. Yeah, relationships. It's interesting. I started gigging again, music-wise, and relationships that I built, like, I don't know, 15 years ago are just are the core of it still, right? It makes it easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The relationships that last in Web3. It's interesting too. It's like having gone through, we've both been through a crypto winter before you started 2017. So you know what it gets like, right? Although I think this one's gonna be a lot more exciting than the first one that we went through. Like, it got real quiet there in the
Well,
middle.
there's a lot to talk about, man.
There's just more
And
going on, right? Like
yeah,
NFTs and games and metaverse. Like, it's not just like, your ICO didn't produce any tangible results, which happened
yeah,
like
yeah,
18 trillion times, right? Like, there wasn't anything going on, right? Like, oh, you have a
yeah,
token, they're not building anything. Yeah, well, we're
yeah.
building everything every day, right? So are you
Yep.
guys. I still have, we're gonna do, 100 people before Christmas. Like, there's people that are working in this space, because it's not just ICOs to do a token to magically produce something or not in the future. It's metaverse, it's NFT games. The NFT market is not dead, right? Like, if you only looked at the lows, we're still in at least geometric growth, year on year for NFTs. And it just, there's a lot going on. So that's still, pretty exciting to me, just because
Yeah, no,
uh,
dude. Well, it was an absolutely depressing time. I mean, like, this doesn't feel anything like it. It's
right.
depressing. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that have, failed now, and there's a lot of people that I was good friends with that have lost a lot, especially with like
Yeah.
what happened. All of these leveraged plays that just got wiped out, right?
Right, just like, that's the only lesson. Leveraged plays,
Yeah,
guys. They,
yeah,
like, just don't do it. Like,
don't,
if you get
yeah,
lucky one time, you're not gonna get lucky the next time. Like, the market
yeah,
turns every time.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Every
Oh, it's
time.
so hard to watch, because, like, there's nothing more full of hubris than somebody with a leveraged position.
Dude, I'm grateful. Like, when I first got in 2017. So where I lost, where I met, when I had my first like, oh shit, I'm gonna change my ways moment in Web3, was BitConnect. I was a BitConnect guy. Yeah, like legit. I was a
Dude,
BitConnect guy.
I was in USI Tech. I can't say shit.
So yeah, so you get it, right?
Yep.
But I swore BitConnect was like, had broken the code, and
Well, even though,
like,
like
and
remember, Bit Club was a mining thing. Like, that was another one we had some positions in back in the day. Like, and they were like a Bitcoin mining thing or whatever, right? I went
yeah,
to their freaking Bitcoin mine in Iceland. Like, these guys,
really,
they were doing like a bit, yeah, but they ended up like taking $1 billion from people, and like all the ones they could find are in jail now. Like, the feds took them down the whole 9 yards, because they basically just had that like as a little showroom. It was massive, right? But
right.
they were just raking in people's money and then not deploying it into basically just not doing anything they said they were going to do, right? And it's tough, right?
Wow.
Like, that's where, I don't know, like, the projects that you meet. And I think where I was headed with the shift in the bull market, the bear market, it's the great filter, right? Like, the
Yeah.
relationships that last through a crypto winter are never going away, and you'll see people's true colors. Like, the second things turn, you're gonna find out, what your friends, or hopefully friends, are actually like, right? And so, I'm kind of, it's tough, but I'm grateful for that as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, man, because I will say, like, yeah, I know when I look around the landscape now, there were a lot more community management companies that are no longer around. Right, and not because they're, uh I want to say not because they're scammers, but when there's less money to be made, I would say the people that are only in it for that,
Yeah.
right? They vanish pretty quickly.
Yep.
And because they're not here for one client, they're not here to have that one client keep paying their team and keep building what they're building. They don't want to do that. They want the big riches, right? Like, we're perfectly fine having one client through this winter, right?
Yep.
Like, we don't need to have 22 clients through this winter. If we have one, and we can provide amazing value to that one, and we can grow that community, and we can keep building, right? Like, dude, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I want to stay here even if we don't have a client, man. Like, I'm gonna stay. Like, I'll be fully transparent. I left in late 2018, early 2019. Because it was absolutely
It's dark.
miserable.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was miserable, and there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing going on. There wasn't LinkedIn talking. There wasn't. There wasn't.
No, right?
There
There's no
wasn't
crypto Twitter. No, like, when we say it went
nothing.
quiet, I feel like it was like 4 years ago. We're like talking to these, like, oh, you young whippersnappers from 3.5 years ago.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
dude, it was
it was
bad.
dead.
Yeah, yeah. But my friends that stayed stuck through it. Um, very, they did well. They did extremely well, right? Like, they did well.
That's the
They
story, right? Yeah.
That's the
I
story. Like,
Yeah. I
Like, and
volunteered for startups. That's actually what ended up getting me to do these shows. People were asking me to kind of do community management actually, and to do promotions for them. And this is just how I've done it, right? I'm going to run shows. I'm going to, meet people, talk to people. People are going to find out about the uplift or whatever I was working on at the time or whatever, right? It built that tool set up to the point where, before the first bull market was running, before Mark Zuckerberg was talking about metaverse, we were running one and it was connected to Web3 and everything was working already, right? So like
wow.
we just had a head start. And so, yeah, I firmly believe that if you work your nards off at whatever you're doing, right, and
Yeah.
volunteer if you have to, through the crypto winter, even if you don't really know what you want to do, I knew we could put cryptocurrency inside Minecraft because it had been done before, right? I didn't know NFTs were going to be the land deeds. In retrospect, obviously they are, right? Like,
Yeah.
But people will find out what it is that their jam's going to be over the time when, everyone else has just left. And that
Yep.
really does. It positions you to, we've done some incredible things, and I can kind of imagine what it's going to be like for the next bull run for us, but it's nuts, and it's stuff that no one's seen before is the stuff that we're
Yep.
going to be working on, right?
And that's what's key. I love what you said. Find your jam, right? Because like we touched on earlier, there's so many facets to this that haven't even been explored yet, and
Right.
we're going to continue to explore them for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And I mean, come on, outreach. Okay. Like just community to community outreach, right? We're not talking marketing outreach. We're not talking PR. We're talking just a person going from one community to another and saying, hey, you want to partner? You want to do whitelist partnering? You want to do some events together? That's a job now, right?
Yeah.
Like that is a paying job, right? Like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, it's insane. And that's only going to grow. That's going to be a legitimate career. It's going to be sort of like business development, but it's going to be specifically niched to community, right? Like people are going to be able to do that thing forever.
Like the
right. I don't see it going.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, and I don't see that going away. Right. And like all of these little things just happened. Like there were kind of around in 2017, 2018, but not really. Not
really.
like this. Not really. This just happened in the last 2 years. All of these new little jobs popping up, alpha people. Like there were call groups on like Telegram, right? But there weren't like these alpha guys who communities and people are hiring to come into their communities and provide value to their community, right? With calls. Right. Yep. So like all of these things, and we're just getting started. So like, that's what I love. I love that you said that. Find your jam, because if you're sitting here and you're able to participate when these next new fields pop up, like if none of these scream to you right now, if like alpha calling or collab management or community management, if none of this screams to you right now, that's fine. It's cool. There's going to be something that does. Just
be in action, either like soaking up as much information as humanly possible, or doing whatever you can in the space. I mean, that even in the play to earn space, we have people in the uplift now creating their own game loops and their own NFT games just from their piece of land, right? Like that, like playing is now a job. It's not, not easy. You have to figure out how to do it, right? Like it's a whole thing, but it's legit and it's out there, and it's just never endingly fascinating. All right, so I know we're both excited for the next bull run. 18 months to 2.5 years, we'll see, right? Like the 4-year Bitcoin cycle is more or less still in play, probably caveat blah 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 blah. What I want to go after is in the window of like 3 years to 5 years out, what are you most excited about?
3 to 5 years out.
Like we're talking like after this next bull run,
after it pops out.
Right.
Man, that's a good question, because it's very specific. If you said 10 years out, I could be like, hey, this is what I'm excited about. But 3 to 5 years out.
Answer that one first. If you have an answer for that, like 10 years out.
Yeah. So 10 years, what I'm really excited, obviously I'm community, right? So I'm really excited to see how community evolves on these social media platforms, because we know We know Twitter. Well, I don't know now because Musk has, bought it. So I don't know what is happening now. But prior to him purchasing it, we had conversations with Twitter product team, and they were talking about how they're going to be really focused on building out and trying to disrupt Discord's kind of stranglehold on community,
Mm,
right? And they wanted to build out community platform and community mechanisms and stuff like that. We know Facebook is doing the same thing. They've added like chats to some of their groups and stuff like that. We know WhatsApp building out their community platform, their community mechanisms. So I'm really, in 10 years, I'm very excited to see what plays out there, because I think that there's so many more roles, responsibilities, positions that are coming, and we're going to see community become a very serious, like it's already serious topic, like Web3 and some Web2 people talk about it and blah, blah, blah. But like it's going to be a central point of everything, I
yeah.
think, moving forward. And in 10 years, I'm extremely excited about that. 3 to 5 years, I would say I'm very excited to see what NFTs do, right?
Mm,
And how they evolve, because I do not believe that this current iteration of NFTism, NFT market, whatever, is the thing. Right. I think that there's always, just like shitcoin space is still the shitcoin space, and you could go on Telegram and jump in a bunch of these shitcoin groups and pump and dump till your heart's content. Right. It's still a thing. But
mm.
like that's just like how, because I was big in 2017, it's still going on now. But I think the NFT space will be very similar, right? You're still going to have kind of the casino, people just making NFT projects and stuff like that, and so I
Yeah,
think that's going to
it's just
continue.
they're hype trains, right? I mean, that's really all they
Yes,
are, and you have to
yeah,
recycle those because it's always the next shiniest bright thing. Like that's
exactly.
it's yeah, it's
So
super
so
frustrating if you're building a long-term project.
yeah, and I'm just excited to see what happens with the pump. All of the people building right now, getting actual capital to really expand what they've already built during the bear, and solidify these utilities that are coming out of the conversations right now. Um, and I'm just very interested to see how that takes shape, and then what
Mhm.
new technology, because it seems like there's always something new that pops up every time this cycle goes back in. So I'm just really excited to see what comes out this
Right?
next
Like
time.
what's the next thing? Yeah.
Yes, like just super excited.
I have a sneaky suspicion that it's AI integration, which is why
Like AI integrated.
yeah. That's why we're working
Yeah.
on it. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
we're toying around with creating like attaching the good language engines. We actually got we're in the IBM Hypertext Accelerator. We got into that through Chan, of course.
Okay.
And they've got OpenAI caliber
Yep.
language engines up and running
Really.
or whatever. So at the base layer, we're thinking, okay, throw a God in the machine kind of thing, where like at any point you can be in the uplift and you can be talking to like the thing, right, whatever it is, which could be sort of excuse me, interesting. But in mind test, we can actually build non-player characters, build mobs out, and then actually imbue them with intelligence, like actual machine learning. So they'll get
Wow.
smarter all the time. And
That's
one of
that's
the
not
things,
fun. Why
yeah,
would you do that? I
it,
like to know when I'm hitting, hitting the skeleton, how many times and what he's gonna do, man.
so
You're
no.
making
The
it
thing is, like,
hard.
you'll own this one, and it'll be helping you.
Ah, okay. All right.
Right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Dig it. Dig
So
it.
yeah,
Dig
no,
it.
we don't like. I'm already scared enough of the mobs. Like, I don't need that shit. Like, I got enough stress in my life as it is.
Yeah, you
But
don't
yeah,
want that creeper being able to really creep,
right.
because that would
Seriously,
not be fun. Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
needs that in their lives. But again, like so we're sort of fascinated with that and AI art and and even like AI generated plugins for like turning voxel based programs that anyone can build, because that's always kind of been our
Yeah.
thing, right? Like we've looked at other platforms. If people can't immediately put one block on top of another and start building their experience, I'm kind of not interested, because we see a lot of really really flashy metaverse environments where no one is, right? And even like
Yeah.
users, we still have, it's still a challenge for us as well. So
I,
that's sort of
I
been the
I don't think the metaverse, at least anytime soon. is going to be these flashy 3D rendered worlds that everyone.
Right.
I don't think that's happening for a while, like
So
a while.
here's where it gets really interesting. Like AI generated art in the last 6 months has gone nuclear,
Yeah,
right? Like
it's
it's
absolutely. Have you seen V4
yeah,
from Midjourney?
the advancements are insane.
Nuts,
So there's a video out
insane.
now where somebody created a plugin that takes like a Minecraft house and then iterates the entire scene based on a
Yeah,
keyword, right? But then he showed that
yeah.
you could
I've
do it
seen
in
that.
real
I've
time,
seen that. Yep,
right?
I've
So
seen that.
if
Sick.
we're only really a matter of time and computational power from when you're going into something like mind test that looks it's blocky, right? It's like, whatever. It's like a slightly simpler version of Minecraft, which I mean you can make with different filters you can make really amazing anyway, but where you can be developing your own three-dimensional very, very good images based off of a core voxel program. And we could see this inside a year too, right? So,
Yeah,
imagine
yeah,
you're walking through the uplift that used to look blocky, but now it looks better than Decentraland because we've got a plugin that makes it look however the fuck you want. Like you've got
yeah, yeah,
reality
yeah.
glasses on at all times.
So,
Like that's the tools are
so
are really close.
now, and so you're saying they'd be able to do it. So, actually, that's a really cool because the whole reason why I've said that I don't think it's going to be super nice and shiny looking anytime soon is because really we need to um, onboard and the all of the people because I all of the people coming in from these emerging markets into the
Yeah.
space, right?
Yeah.
Like and they do not have the computational power to run
Right.
any of these shiny worlds, right?
Yeah.
And I
Mind
don't
test will
see.
run on a Raspberry Pi.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Love that. I
And I
absolutely
mean
love that.
phones,
That's
like the
cool.
simple smartphones and stuff. That's one of the things.
So
Again,
you're
thank you,
saying
Mojang.
I could run my test on my emulator?
Yep.
Dude, that's dope. Dude,
Yeah.
that's cool. So I can put it. That's cool. That's really dope, man. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Like those one
I
up
totally agree
machines.
though. We and well,
Like the one up
Chan,
machines. Do you know
yeah,
the one up machines?
yep.
Yeah. So we could run my. You could have a mind test.
Yeah,
One
you
up
could have
machine. Dude, that's
you
dope.
could be running an iteration of the uplift on a one-up machine.
Dude,
That's
that's
fun.
so cool. That's so
That's fun.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you though about the emerging markets. Like we've been I can't remember the guy's name. I really need to remember it, but Katani Pay, that's part of the New Moon Accelerator. They're
Uh-huh.
doing blockchain payment systems, but connecting it with SMS because there's not a ton of smartphones down there yet or whatever. It's like easily like a $500 billion market because people don't have bank accounts, right? It's like just like watching them attack that emerging market is so inspirational because like
Yeah.
these those economies are going to improve in all
Dude,
likelihood,
they're
right?
going. Look,
And
not in like man, I think that's where it's at. Like, I think a lot of people are getting they're getting I don't know if it's tunnel vision or racism. I'm just being honest. Because like I'm not trying look, guys, I'm not trying to be political or anything like this, but if you are a capitalist and you like to earn money, okay, these emerge if you look at risk versus reward, okay, like these emerging markets are where it's at. Like,
yeah,
okay, take the Philippines for example. The number one in the world for internet use or for social media use. Number one. That country is number one. It outpaces everybody. We're talking even China, which has like 10
really,
times as many people. Yes, right. And it's one of it's absolutely insane that people are overlooking
yeah,
these stats
yeah.
and they're not focused on because they don't think there's much money there. There's going to be, and they're gonna be the biggest. I would say the rewards are going to favor emerging markets in Web3 because why wouldn't it? Right? Like
Well, there's no
they're
legacy infrastructure getting in the way, right? Like just like it's
right,
like a perfect storm. Education is becoming
perfect.
more rampant constantly, and it's basically almost free for every smartphone. Like internet access is going, through the roof. People are figuring out how to do SMS payments, yada yada yada. Like everything, right? So you want to go to a
Everything.
market that's entirely mature, or do you want to go to one that doesn't have the legacy infrastructure holding it back? Because believe me, it does, right? Like
Yes, it does.
we're
And
yeah,
even then, like the infrastructure that's there, they want to compete in the world. And so what are they going to do? They're going to adopt the thing that lets them compete. Right.
100%.
So like, dude, it's it's a no-brainer to me. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny.
and
I think, and I do like I'm a recovering political pontificator myself. But and I don't know what it is. I think the I always assume like it can't possibly be racism, but I live in the States now, and like yes, it can,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
wow, what an education.
Well,
But even
like
like
so.
the
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like there is even among the investor class, um, although you can get into circles where they're smarter about this. People want to invest in something that you know is like it's already done, right? And that's like the first mistake, right? Like
Yeah.
you need to go where it hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
And the emerging global markets, whether it's the global south or the entire continent of Africa for the most part, like what I mean, like that, it just there are humans there that are fire, right? And the Katani team, I just keep coming back to them because they're just like they're not fucking around at all. Like they're clearly going to do hardcore damage. They're super freaking smart. And that shit's just inspiring to me.
Yeah. So, like, just to put in context, like how I look at this, my entire team is made up from Nigerians, Indians, and Filipinos, right? And our training, people can get mad at me all they want. I don't care. Our training, we have a pretty strict and stringent onboarding process to because we have our own training platform that's coming out. We've been doing moderating and community management training within our Discord, certifying people, NFT certificates,
Oh,
non-transferable,
that's
right?
cool.
Soul bound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we our certification or our verification process weeds out anybody from like any rich country. Um, like any rich country. They do not get into our training process. And people could be like, well, why? Why would you do that? Well, for a few reasons. One, I've firsthand seen people tell me they don't want to work with me because my team is Nigerian, Indian, and Filipino. Like straight up, oh, you have Nigerians on your team? Yeah, we can't have you moderate our Discord, right?
Oh my
Like
god.
no joke. And so when I see this, I get absolutely livid. So
Yeah.
I know that our processes, our routines, and what we've built out, and the knowledge that we have, and the tools we're building are going to be game changers for the people that have access to them, and they're going to be able to provide service at these services at a level that many others can't do,
Mhm.
or will be very time consuming for them to do it because we're taking our entire service offering and putting it into code and making it very streamlined and making it so anybody can kind of do what we do, and it's going to make us obsolete, which is cool. I want to do that. And we're going to give it to these people that need it, and let them make good money and basically disrupt this idea that they can't provide good services because they're going to be the ones that are going to provide the best services, right?
Right.
And that's the plan. And
Well, and you
yeah,
wrap all of that in a brand, right? And those processes and the people become the brand, and I think it'll end up attracting people on both ends. I'm a fan, James Turner. This this
thanks,
uh
man.
this sounds good, and really, I think it's somehow, not with everyone, of course, but it feels overlooked to me sometimes, um, just how global this new order is, right?
Yeah,
Like borders are not seen at all. We
no,
literally ignore them all the time, and that's a tremendously, insanely big deal. I keep going back to Katani Pay, where they were like, for people that were trying to send, family money in country or country to country in Africa or whatever, they get like minimum 30% fees to cross a border, on the shift payments or whatever. It's just insane. Where you send some
insane.
Bitcoin and it's free, like or like
Yep.
10 cents or whatever
Or
it is, right?
yeah, nothing. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so then if you have the ability to create some integration so that people can start paying back and forth, and you have payment channels, that work via SMS or whatever, like that's a game changer. So that's what they're building, and a lot of other countries like that are doing that as well, right? So imagine like an entire continent of 1 billion people that have never really had access to payments or banking before at scale.
At
Suddenly, just
scale. Yeah.
have that and the internet. Like, huh?
Yep. Yep.
It's gonna be
Yep.
nuts.
At the same time. At the same time. and that's
And
what
then they
people
come
are
work for
kind of
you if
over.
they want to, and like just rock and
Hell
roll.
yeah, come on. No,
Oh
but the
yeah,
thing is like what we're building too is like it's not for us. Like the platform that we're building, we want to enable them to build their own companies, right?
mm,
So we're building like scaling infrastructure, showing them like in the system itself that we're building out, they're going to be able to scale their own companies, right? They're going to be able to manage their own community management teams with processes, systems, dashboards, right? And they're going to be able to do all of that and provide a level of service that just is unheard of other than people that have been doing it and built out these services,
right.
right? And we're going to have all of the training for them, right? And I mean, and they're going to be able to do it. So I love that. But take, I love what you're saying about how this intersection is happening in these emerging markets where they're coming online and they're getting banked at the same time through decentralized processes. I absolutely love it because like I'm in the Philippines right now and nobody here, like very few people are banked, like extremely few people are banked. Everybody holds cash. It's a cash system, and you know I think that there's so much opportunity. Um, it's just I think it's just being overlooked, man. We could keep talking about that for hours, but anyway, yeah, I just think it's
Right. I mean,
overlooked,
that's
and I just can't
right.
wait. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Welcome to the bear market. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
there's just so much going on. Like this is,
yeah.
yeah, it's I'm a huge fan. All right, so just to pivot a little bit, I ask everybody this question. What's your biggest fear for human civilization?
Biggest fear. Okay, to kind of go and, and juxtapose everything we've been talking about
Right? I should almost
is
like ask this earlier in the conversation so that we can end on much higher notes.
yeah, no, it's all good, dude. Leave everybody on a cliffhanger, literally. No,
Right?
yeah,
This is the last one.
yeah.
Meteors, just turn it off.
Just we're dead. Everybody's dead. Go, no. Get in the
Oh.
bunker now. No,
Excuse me.
Alex Jones pops out of nowhere. No,
Oh,
anyway.
for Christ's sake, right? Just start selling us some prepper shit. By the way, we got a new advertiser today. It's stick gold up your butt.com. Like, yeah. What?
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
Woo.
that's all weird.
Okay. No, honestly, my biggest fear is that all of the and I've been doing a little bit of thinking around this. Is that possibly and this might sound a little conspiracyism, okay, but that possibly Web3, this technology that we are touting as the decentralized, thing, is really the thing that's going to give power and control to the top echelon even more.
Mm,
Um, and the reason why I'm worried about that, and because it's all verifiable, like everything we're doing
right.
is trackable,
That's
right? And
yeah.
that's worrisome. Like that's honestly worrisome. Um, and
Yeah.
and then if they can stamp out the decentralized nature with like CBDCs,
Yeah.
um, right? That's
And even like I
worrisome.
think they already so I am sort of infamous for smashing conspiracy theories in the face. Unless
Okay.
there's evidence, I get very mad. Like it's right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not one of those times.
Yeah.
Because you know we could phrase it as a conspiracy theory and that would be legitimate
But
or whatever. But
it's not really
it's
a
like
theory. It's just worrisome.
power
You know?
concentrates. Like this is a fact. Power concentrates, right? And if
Yep.
people have the ability to track, they're going to do it. Now, my
Yep.
my take on that is that ship sailed a long time ago, right? Anybody who has a cell phone, they already know literally everything, right? The banks can track everything already. Like there's some privacy perceived in cash, but even that, right? Like the sort of surveillance state as we kind of understand it now is already existed, but with machine learning and the fact that
Yeah.
everything is connected, whether you're on a country's stable coin or anywhere else in Web3 won't matter. right? So I am sort of a little optimistic around, the national digital currencies, because it's going to be an on and off ramp that's a lot simpler, right? So I take it back to Estonia as like the best case example of people just like rampantly taking in like all blockchain on the government side of things. And it works really well and it's fancy or whatever, right? So there's like a blue sky version of this that allows countries with a lot of legacy issue to just come into Web3, and there will be challenges to that, but I think we'll also be experiencing a lot of the benefits to it. So yeah, no, but it's not crazy, right? Because again, like the fact that I think makes what you're saying really, really rational is that power will centralize. It's going to, right? Even
it will,
Bitcoin
period.
mining, right? There's 3 companies that split into what looks like 6 or 7 companies that run Bitcoin mining. They have way more than 50%. They could 51% attack themselves right now. The only reason they won't is because of the brand, right?
Yep.
Like that, Bitcoin is not decentralized. Just repeat after me. Bitcoin is not decentralized. And that, so looking at the different decentralization schemes or whatever, like the Wax blockchain or EOS or whatever, there's like, 21 producing block producers, and that the proof of stake thing is interesting. And I think it's an attempt to to realize as much decentralization as humanly possible and flesh things out.
I have a question, because there's one interesting blockchain that I've heard it's not even technically a blockchain. It's a hash graph. And you already know which one I'm talking about, right?
I don't know anywhere near enough about hash graphs. So I am
okay. So Hedera. Do you know much about Hedera?
Not really, no.
Okay, I was going to ask you what you thought, because like I've been hearing a lot of talk about it, and the interesting thing about it is that the nodes are operated by some of the top companies in the world, right? But they're not like, we're talking some of the top conglomerates, like we're talking Amazon and like other massive conglomerates that do not like work together. Like these people, right? Like, so there's this interesting idea that these conglomerates probably aren't going away because they're massive. They're just like absolutely just giant. They all have a node running Hedera. And they it's in their best interest to keep it running and make it do well without giving too much power to any of the other nodes, right? Because those are also kind of their competition on the world stage, right? So, so it's an interesting idea, and I just wanted, and I'm not, if anybody listening is like, no, you're wrong, I probably am. This is,
it's where we get into this thing where the game theory of this stuff, this is why like the decentralization pioneered by EOS, right? There's like hundreds of backup block producers, 21 get voted in, right? And there's ways that work, and there's ways that the old EOS where it didn't, right? So some friends of ours created the EOS Network Foundation. They're actually improving that. It's iterating, it's evolving.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know they were still kicking.
Check out Yves LaRose on our show from a month or 2 ago, and we'll have them on again soon. We've had a few people on in that orbit. Yeah, they're very, very good. They actually voted to fork it, and Block One's getting kind of like edged out, which is really, really delicious to see. Right. So yeah, people are doing that. So where I get fascinated is the like trying to figure out the right game theory so that large actors can't destroy the thing, right? Because if you have the power to destroy the thing, you have the power to do whatever the hell you want, right? So, or dominate it unruly so that only one value set is the one that is going forward forever, right? And it really is. It's a mirror of how politics works now, right? Like if we need to have, the ability to vote people out. Otherwise, it's just one party rule, and just go look at history, how that works out.
It's never good.
It's never good, right? No matter how, if it's your side, it's going to suck, right? Sooner or later, they're coming for you. It's just how this works.
You might get one ruler that's great, but the one after him might not be that great.
And it really, right? Like your value set might win out, whatever that value set is. You might be a total racist piece of shit in the United States and think like, yeah, my leader is the best. He isn't, but what? Yay! And what comes after that's not going to be great, right?
not going to be great. Yeah,
It's going to
exactly.
be Marjorie Taylor Greene, like basically coming to your fucking house and shooting your dog. Like that's the second version of this, right? I did
Yeah.
mention I was a recovering political.
Yeah. You're a recovering political. Yeah. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, and really, like that being in Web3 is really the how it was really the only way that I could see through waking up in the morning and feeling like I was actually adding value to the future of humanity. Right,
Same.
the politics that we're doing right now. I'm not saying it's not important because it is. Right, there's real ramifications. There's real people that are going to be affected by this in the near term. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so, one of the reasons why it was a no-brainer for us to move to a DAO, like that, decentralized organizations are, talking about people coming together in community, right? Like that, this is how communities become, governance and business engines. Like they're not different anymore, right? They really are kind of blending into that same thing. So people are coming together with shared values to do things in a shared way. And that's and we can iterate a million different times, right? Like that, or hundreds of millions, right? For every single chat group, every single one of them should default as being a DAO, and kind of decide what they want to have empowered through that or whatever, right? So anyway, yeah, James, thanks for coming on, man. I'm glad we got the chance to hang out.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I appreciate the whole way you conducted this AMA. Not that I don't like going on to like a chat where it's all community, because I love community. It's what I do, but I also have other things I want to talk about. So I really appreciate you allowing that space, giving that space, just having a great conversation. This was a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much.
That was my goal. Well, James, I want you to come back. One of the things that we do with the show is we want to develop, again, like the community of people that come on this show. Like I've seen tons of shows where people will just kind of come on and you'll never hear them again. Like that's not how we want to roll, right? We're building long-term relationships. I want to hear about every time you guys have something going on with Excellerate.
Sure.
You guys are dropping anything, or honestly, even if you just want to come back and nerd out about emerging markets, they're in. It's just and I guess this will be so the last question I ask, and I usually ask about who are the 2 or 3 most amazing people, kind of the wise advisors in your direct circle. But I want to maybe open that up just to put a little seed in your brain. If there are projects in emerging markets or teams that are really, really amazing, who are a couple 3 of those that that you can mention. And then tell them to get their ass on our show.
So I'll mention one that's doing amazing things. Giant Protocol, doing some amazing things. They are decentralized bandwidth. It is exactly what it says. It's tokenized, decentralized bandwidth. You can fly to any part of the, like, I think there's like 120 countries or something like that. You can fly, use your same phone, buy data directly from their protocol. And this is gonna really disrupt things, especially like you spoke about in Africa, where a lot of these countries and a lot of these third world countries use kind of phone minutes as currency, and there's a lot of corruption around that. And this is going to decentralize that in a big way and give power back to them.
When did they start? I'm sorry, I have to interject here. When do they start connecting those to Starlink terminals?
Right, dude, right? That'll be so great. Dude, yeah. Oh, I don't know, but I can say it's already live. You can go on right now and purchase some minutes for your phone in like 120 countries. So it's really dope. They're one. They're the one that I can say is actually, and they're led by a team that really wants to change the world. So I would say go shoot them a message, and I'll get you connected.
That'd be great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'd love to chat with them. That's and always sort of the back end of the whole collab thing, right? Like trying to figure out, okay, well, like who could we sit down for dinner someday, or like a virtual coffee, and like accidentally change the world. Oops.
Yeah. Well, she'd be one of them. Yeah, she's pretty cool. Awesome. Yeah, she'd be one of them.
Brilliant. All right, that'll do it. James Turner, Accelerate. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out and nerding out. I should say, like, I almost want to make a joke about make a joke about what we were saying off air. But I gotta go get my drink on. He meant water, but it was really funny.
Water.
It was off air.
Yeah, yeah.
Just it'll
No
never
scotch.
make sense to you. No scotch.
No scotch. No scotch on the rocks.
Like, if you did, I would not be offended. Yeah. Man, Jimmy, my partner that I've been doing the show part of this stuff with for a couple of years now, just moved back to Canada. And he stayed at his parents' place. His internet is shit, so we haven't been able to do it together as much as I'd like. But he lived in Japan, and like 6 times out of 10, he was like 3-4 beverages deep before we would come to the show. And like, we have a morning show, so getting your drink on this show is like a little more on the nose than you might think. Anyway.
Yeah, that's funny, dude.
Anyway,
it's too
James,
good.
Really good to meet you, man. I'm excited to have you back
Same.
already, and I'm super stoked to see what you guys build.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Corey. Hope you have a great day.
Cheers.
See you, man.